Oi! Hopefully you can hear this. And if you can't, I would like to hear you, because obviously video is as much part of this as audio is. And it'd be nice to know if someone can't hear me. Bear with me for a sec while I get into this and just make sure everything's working okay. As you can see, we are being proudly sponsored by Watercolors, and I totally should have a link, but I'll put it up later. Watercolors acrylic paints are very much like most other acrylic paints out there, but one of the things I particularly like about them is that they have a series of different settings on the front. We've got highly opaque or opaque, and this generally indicates the level of coverage that you get out of the paints. So the yellow goes over really well on a lot of things, but more of that later. As with anything, preparation is the key, and I'm not going to tell you about the last 45 minutes that I've spent mucking around, trying to get the video right and the camera right and the light right, because it's awful. However, it's all good, and it seems that I'm up and running now. Tonight I'm only going to muck around for a little while. I'm hoping to make this a fairly regular stream, and encouraging more people to paint. Certainly better questions would be better, or more questions would be better. The more we can learn together, the better off we'll be. Don't ask me about NMM, because I don't know NMM techniques, and they always come off really crap. I can show you out of the pile of shame my first attempt at NMM. Looks something like that, and it's a little bit less than impressive. I'll get these glasses off. I'm also extremely old, and so therefore I'm half blind, and it means that I have to wear now extra magnifying glasses so that I can actually see anything. But as we can see there, my first NMM attempt, not exactly awesome, not quite inspiring, and eventually washing with red and stuff pretty well made it turn out like it was rusty. So certainly something I'll go back and revisit, but at the moment not one of my strong points. What I'm going to be painting tonight is my Infinity Carotid, who at the moment looks somewhat like a homicidal Ronald McDonald. So to set that off, because he was primarily all yellow, I went and added some more aqua to him, just to offset the yellow a bit, make it a little bit cleaner, or a little bit less sort of psychotic Ronald McDonald alien clown killing machine, which the Carotid is. I know I'm probably saying that wrong. So without further ado, as you can see, I've got some of the aqua down, and that's about all I'm going to do. I'm going to go back and retouch some of the space that I've missed, but it's a matter of highlighting it, and I've been using a combination of things, but the Watercolors turquoise with some Watercolors beige as a highlight. Historically, I've also used GW's Hawk turquoise and then highlighted that with the beige as well. One of the good things about the Watercolors paints is that they tend to mix fairly well with other vendors. And I've certainly had a lot of success mixing Watercolors, particularly with GW. Now, the one other thing that every good painter needs, of course, is their trusty wet palette. Mine is an extremely expensive wet palette. It's an old Tupperware container we had sitting around the house. And I've added a piece of just, I think, well, we call it wax paper, wax paper. And I've added a Chuck's sponge thing underneath it, just to add for the water, to hold the water. I did use a sponge previously, like a proper full-on U-Butte kitchen sponge, but it rotted after about 6 months. was just totally bizarre. It was all, you know, moldy and disgusting and smelt really bad. So that one died to death pretty quickly. Oh well. Enough about that. You know what? I'm going to cheat. Although I've been pimping the watercolors, and I'll have a link for them sooner or later. You can check out watercolors.com. Obviously, that's a good place to start. But I've been cheating with this. So I'll go back to the recipe that I was using before, just because I know that that way it works. I should probably show you how I'm sitting, because it's kind of interesting as well. Hopefully this is coming through. And if you're watching, which I have, oh, 0, no watches. That's all right. Another part of getting old means that I can't sit crouched over like this, and honestly, if you're doing this, you shouldn't be anyway, because it's incredibly bad for your back. And again, after years and years and years of doing this, I have a couple of back problems where I can't sit crouched over for a long period of time. So hence why I've set myself up with a very low stool. And you can see all the way down there, groin shot, totes groin shot. But I'm about, can you see it? You can't in the dark. That's an extremely low stool. And there's the table there. So there's me on camera, on camera, on camera. It's Inception. But it does allow me to paint for a bit longer. The only downside is I need something to put my wet palette on, which is a better height than sitting here on the table. So whilst preparation is obviously 99% of the problem, I'm not entirely prepared for this. And away we go. So what I've done is I put down Hawk Turquoise ages ago, and then I went and hit it with a very light blue wash, probably Azure Blue, I think it was, just really, you know, accentuate the lines and make everything stand out. And now I've got to go back after reapplying Hawk Turquoise to the bits that I missed from where the blue spilt. It's a matter of mixing up the Hawk Turquoise with the old classic bleach bone and using that as a highlight. Now, one of the cool things about this wet palette, like any wet palette, is it allows you to keep your paint alive for longer. So rather than having to mix it up and use it all at the same time, you can see there's a couple of old splodges. And in fact, if I check out this black, which was probably used about a week or so, at least a week or so ago, you can see there it's, look, you wouldn't want to paint with it, but it's definitely still alive. So I grab my, probably not that one. Now, the other thing I'm going to be using tonight is my Winsor & Newton brush. I splurged on a Winsor & Newton 000 and also my Winsor Newton 0, or what's that one? Oh, it's a 2 brush. I kind of wish I had got a 0 or a 0 along with a 00. I know a lot of people rant and rave about these, and I used to think it was just hype. I got to tell you right now, it's not. These things are just amazing, and I don't understand why, because they're just brushes. But the amount of improvement, the amount of control, and just the amount of quality that comes out of these brushes is incredible. So a lot of people will pimp these, and they do so for good reason, because they are just amazing. They do make a difference to your painting, regrettably. So something small like that does, it makes a significant difference, which is amazing to me, but at the same time vaguely ridiculous. Okay. Just check to make sure my computer's still working, because I've got the cheapest, crappiest computer in the face of the planet doing this. Good. Yeah, it's what is it? It's an old HP laptop that I'm running this through. So not my best work, but yeah, not bad. Excellent. Okay. don't want that one to pop out. Are you going to pop out for me? Pop out there. Okay. Thanks for coming, Charlie Brown. Now I can see everything. Alright. So give me a bit more of a shake. I have started dropping glass beads into some of my paint pots just to help mix them up a bit, because as you can see, this is a fairly old hawk turquoise. I just can't seem to say hawk turquoise, but it's fairly old, and so it tends to age fairly well, but over time that's going to dry out terribly. So by having an agitator in there, it functions just like the ones in the spray bottles and so forth, to help move paint around a bit more. And I've got an extremely old bleach bone here, though I hope it's still got some life in it. One of the cool things, just go back to the watercolors again for a sec, one of the cool things that comes out of this is that they also, I think they've got glass beads in them, so you start shaking them and it actually agitates the paint a lot better as well. But for the purpose of what I'm doing here, I'm going to muck around with a bit of hawk turquoise colour. So you can already see there. I've just tried to get that out of the lid. I'm going to have to go to the point. There's nothing in that lid that's dry, that's wet. There's a little bit there. That's awful. But I can get out of the pot. And it's aged. Not so much like fine wine, but more like milk. I'll mix a very small amount of hawk turquoise. I'm just going to call it whatever it says. A bit of bleach bone. Just sort of pop that around the edges. Now, I had a lot of problems with the lights. I'm not even sure you'll be able to see that. But rest assured, there's a bleach bone highlight on that hawk turquoise. Just kind of edge highlighting that. My wet palette's getting on a bit, so there's a lot more water in that than I would have normally liked. I think I might go back to the old one, just for the time being, and just be a little bit more judicious with my water. For 40k players out there, I found a use for these things. It's the same as a CD, I guess, if you young people remember what CD-ROMs are. Back in the dim dark ages, that's how we got our music and how we were able to access music, was on plastic discs, digitally encoded. But these days, of course, we don't. And I will do that, which will make my work time with the paint less. But until I can fix my palette from being stupid, this is the best of a bad situation. And again, this is just edge highlighting. So I was going to do some funky stuff with fading it. I think I might try that. I'll have to be a little bit more extreme when it comes to the nodules on top. And yes, I'm a brush slicker. So, much like dry brushing, brush slicking is not a crime. It's just a thing. And it makes me happy. I'm going to go further down with this because I'm going to get a lot more light as I go up. So I'll paint this whole bit in there. And because of the paint and because of the model and because he's important, because he's my lieutenant, I'll do this section by section. So I'm going to start with just this bit of the lid. I have the distinctest feeling that if I keep lightening this, which is my plan, I'm probably going to end up in the same place as what I did with the psychotic clown, or the Space Ronald McDonald. I've added just a little bit more bleach bone to that. Turns out it was probably too much, but I'll thin it out a bit and that'll help clean it up a bit as it gets applied. There we go. Yeah, it's definitely helped clean it up a bit. I'm expecting an interruption from a 5-year-old daughter who is a bit ill at the moment, sleeping not very well. She's already been up once. We had to go back and read, but she fell asleep almost immediately, so if things go to plan, she should be down for a few hours now. I'm of course joined in the house of Spruegrey by my lovely wife and 2 very mad cats, 1 very mad dog, and apologies are sent from my very mad son who's staying with his grandparents or something tonight. So that's exciting. It does beg the question, of course, isn't tomorrow Father's Day, Adam? And my answer to that is yes, it is. So I'm a bit worried about who's going to make me my breakfast in bed for Father's Day. But we will just have to assume that our hero gets his bacon and eggs and pancakes in bed for breakfast tomorrow morning. Of course, he may also get to sleep in again. Oh, he loves sleeping in on Father's Day. Do you know how good sleeping on Father's Day is? Well, if you're not a father, I guess probably not, but interestingly, my situation has been changing in the last few months where I'm becoming a house husband, and that it's been really interesting actually. I've always said that if my wife can out-earn me and can pay the bills and rent and mortgage and things like that, I'm more than happy to sort of step into a house husband role. For the past few months, that's where I've been going, and it's been worthwhile. I've had some amazingly good times looking after my daughter and taking her to kindergarten and getting to play and do all that sort of stuff. And also trying to help out my son as much as possible as he navigates the world of high school, and it's always exciting at the best of times. Okay, I'll have one more just very extreme edge highlight there with a fair bit of bleach bone. And over the edge. Oh yeah, that's kind of okay. I'll see if I can get that one in so you can see it. So if I work my hand up behind like that, the light here that I have to use to paint to be able to see is playing very hell with my webcam. But yeah, right, I'll have to take better shots of that and put it up on Instagram or something. You'll be able to see. Hopefully that won't come out. Let's come out a bit better. Just clean that up a bit. Maybe just soften that line around the edge. And also just around this side. It's interesting that you can sit here and paint the same bit 3 or 4 times and not really see much improvement or much change until you get to like the 5th or 6th bit that you paint, and suddenly you can see it all. So I'm not going to make the classic mistake of going and mucking around with that again now. In fact, I'm going to leave him alone for a little while just to dry properly. What else am I painting? Let's see. I'm going to continue on with my boy. I don't understand why, but one of my favourite characters in the whole of Star Wars is one of the bounty hunters, Bosk. And when they came out with the miniatures for Imperial Assault, I was quite excited by that. So I ended up picking up Bosk and also Greedo and IG-88. And who else have I got there? Dengar, who like nobody knows anything about. But of course you can't buy bounty hunters without having the bounty hunter of bounty hunters, the man himself, Boba Fett. Boba Fett! These Imperial Assault miniatures, about what you expect from them. There are some bad mould lines left on them. And if you have a look just along there, there's a pretty bad one that still needs to be cleaned up before I get around to painting it. But look, they're not bad given what they represent. So I don't know how I'm going to use them. It's certainly not going to be in 40k, and given I've never played Imperial Assault in my life, and I'm not massively likely to, I don't know how I'm going to use them. However, they are there. There are a few games out there that allow small numbers of miniatures and whatever figures you want with based around sci-fi type games. And one of the ones I've been checking out a little bit since it was released, because I'm a big fan of the guy who did it, is a role-playing sort of skirmish game called Rogue Stars by Ganesha Games. And if you haven't checked it out and you're looking for a mix of Necromunda and Infinity and sort of your traditional role-playing game, I'd highly recommend you have a look at it. It does mix that stuff really nicely, character progression, but you can build around archetypes rather than specific characters. So strangely enough, these guys would be bounty hunters, but you can build space cops and mercs and cybernetic monstrosities and all sorts of really cool stuff. So again, I'll link it up at some point. Have a look, because yeah, it's worth a look if you want a nice, relatively easy, simple system, a good quick game, and that ability to continue to build your characters over time. So I've already finished Greedo. I don't know why I started with Greedo, but here was the first one I did. And then I moved on eventually to Bosk, because he's one of my favourite characters. I just don't understand why, but he's in it for about 10 seconds. However, if you have a look at the actual release, as opposed to what Bosk looks like here, you'll notice that I've 40k'd up his gun a lot. And I managed to pick that up from Anvil Industries. They do some amazing sort of aftermarket mod stuff to 40k miniatures particularly. If you haven't checked them out, it's highly, highly, highly recommended. So Bosk has been well and truly cleaned up, and I've done his skin sort of as close to what it the pictures are, and continuing on the same sort of idea with his suit and the details and so forth. So sort of a yellow, browny, mustardy coloured suit, black strapping and details. The gun itself is a plasma-y type explodey killing weapon. So that'll have to get, I guess, the plasma treatment for sort of, more traditional 40k stuff, metal, bluish colours for the glowing coils and so forth. But when I left off with this, I was painting the strapping and also his back. So I'm going to continue now just to bash that out while I'm sort of waiting for my infinity figures my infinity figure to finish drying, and then I might just continue on with that a bit. And here's where my painting ADD kicks in. I've got Gorok, the great white lizard, or great light wizard as we tend to call him around here, because it's funnier. And Gorok is a is a Seraphon from the Age of Empires stuff. I've actually really been enjoying painting this, and I'm going for sort of a bluey whitey colour. I've already done a couple of layers of highlights on him. I think I might actually go back and continue on with that, because I was enjoying painting him. So I need to find my light blue, which I can't find. There it is. No, that's baby blue. That's the right colour. So like the suspicious part, but again, another war colour. This one's highly opaque. So there are a couple of translucent ones or transparent ones. But the majority of the range that I've got are opaque, and so they go over undercoats and they go over odd colours really well. And I was clearly using this and doing this before. So I don't know how well that's going to show under the light, but there's that baby blue and the beige colour I was mixing up as the highlight for it. It was supposed to be part of a painting challenge, which involved 1,000 points or so of Age of Sigmar stuff, and promptly completely failed to get that done, even vaguely. So Jamie, if you ever watch this, I'm sorry man, but there's no way I'm ever going to get that done. Okay, I need a painting stand, and those GW ones I now understand the appeal of. However, the Great Light Wizard has his own base. Has his own base somewhere in the pile of shame. It's actually pretty disgusting. You've already seen down my crotch and how I'm sitting very low to paint. I don't think anyone needs to see the pile of shame. It's shameful. That was not deliberate, but I'll take credit for it. There's his base. So it's sort of a temple-y base looking thing that I tried to do. I think the turquoise hasn't worked too well. I've gone a turquoise thing. Might give it a hit with some hand and dark sun, because I always like that colour rather than the turquoise colour. Actually, one of the cool things I've seen in the recent-ish past, was people who take one of those cheap, crappy jigsaws and add a G clamp to it. That makes an awesome paint shaker. I kind of destroyed a couple of G clamps trying to do it, but failed abysmally, so I'll go back to the drawing board on that one. The end and dark sun's sort of working. Again, another very old paint. It's aged pretty well. That might give me more of a sandstone type colour. Okay, yeah, that's working a bit. Bit of a happy accident there, as the Bob Ross memes tend to say. And then again, it's a base and it's a ruinedy temple thing, so I'm not hugely obsessed with the detail of it. Just mucking around with some cardboard and some of that GW textured paint. I gotta say that's just pretty good. The Sterland Mud makes for really good sort of textured, sandy, dirty stuff. I think I shouldn't do that too much more. Let's come up a little bit lighter than I would have liked. So we'll give it some could hit it with a wash, I guess. Go to blast with some Agraxas shade, which wishes it was null, not null oil. Everyone's favourite, the one that's gone, and I have none left. Devlin Mud. Got Ogre and Flesh. I've got Batter Black, but I don't have any Devlin Mud. I wish I had Devlin Mud. That doesn't work so well. Maybe some Dawnstone will help. Bit of grey. Just to greynate it a bit. Gosh, I don't think I've ever opened that Dawnstone. Okay. Bit more there. Yeah, that's a little bit more murky. I'm a fan of that. Very heavy wet dry brush. Okay. Interestingly, for those keeping score, I think this is about, what, 33 minutes worth of, wow, hobby that I've done. This is 33 consecutive minutes of hobby. I think this is the most hobby I've managed to do in a long time. And I've kind of got nothing done, no major goals. But I'm happy with that. No one tell Thor. And that's just one of those really stupid in-jokes that no one will ever get. And I honestly doubt I'll ever see it. Because it's not recording. I'm going to glue him down to his base. Just to give me something better to work on. The oldie super glue. This is just Yum Cha brand super glue from Bunnings. And like all poorly designed super glue bottles, promptly glued the lid shut on me, so my applicator is now the cunningly crafted straightened paper clip. But it functions very well. Except I stick myself to the bottle on the base. Can't remember when I got this model, the Great White Lizard. It was back when he was Great White Lizard, before he got all seraphormed up. Oh, consider turning down video. Settings using a fast encoding preset. Screw it, that'll do. This is only a test anyway. I don't think there's anyone watching. Is there? Are you watching? So he has a really gnarly shield and a funky axe, which I can't find. That'd be about right. This dirty great big mace, it's so cool. That was back in the old days, pre-fall, when the whole world went kablooey. And I was enthusiastic about lizardmen and had a ton of them, and then promptly never ever played a game. I think maybe one, probably. Wow, the pile of shame is disgusting. Yuck. More and more. Oops, that infinity guy shouldn't be staying there like that. He'll get chipped, which would be great after I spend all that time painting him. Dun-dun-dun. Oops, him as well. He can come out to play. Another infinity miniature. Big fan of this guy. Well, in fact, I'm a big fan of most of the range, especially the re-release combined army stuff, because they look so brilliant. The Morats and the Morat Aggression Force. A lot of them got resculpts, and they really became significantly tougher looking than what they were previously. So again, there's one that's half finished. I can probably sit down and paint a bit more of if I really wanted to, but painting ADD kicks in, and hence why I've got now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 miniatures sitting in front of me, all of which urgently need some paint love, but I like getting it, which is well and good. Okay, is he glued down now? No, not significantly. Actually, I'm loath to admit this on camera, but I think from memory this guy actually came from China as a test. Yeah, so you can see that he's not to the quality of moulding and making that you'd expect to come out of a GW factory. So you can go back over there. Alright, well, this appears to have worked okay. I've finally got my setup about where I need it to be, and I think that is working out rather well. Now, most streamers will tell you that they've got a schedule. That sounds like a good idea, but you've got no chance. If I'm on, I'm on. If I'm not, I'm not. But I'll try to make it a regular thing, because I've actually really enjoyed this. And although there's no one watching, I've been rabbiting away to myself, which is cool too. So thank you very much, and I will see you next time.